Hello everyone, welcome back for another book review. So today we are talking about this one. So this is Supermarket Magic, Creating Spells, Brews, Potions, and Powders from Everyday Ingredients by Michael Furie. Could be mispronouncing that last name. Cover absolutely gorgeous. Normally when I review my witchy books, it's not very common that I do a 5-star review because 9 times out of 10 it's like, well, there's still some problems with it. And so it's like, I don't know, I feel like I gotta reserve those for the books that it's like 90+% of this book I'm going to use. Because obviously you're not going to agree with every single thing an author says, but the majority. And this was fantastic. So this book was really helpful, especially right now as we're leading into Thanksgiving week here in the United States. And like, it's a lot of kitchen witchery to be had this time of the year for a lot of us, whether it's just casually or intentionally. And so like, because we're in the kitchen, this just felt like a good book to read right now, and this was phenomenal. So the beginning of the book is just kind of your usuals of like the basics of spells and magic and whatever. The majority of this book was the spells. So they were sectioned off into different purposes like healing, love, prosperity. So in each section he always included the same basic formula in some way of it's going to have a brew, it's going to have an oil, it's going to have some kind of a powder, it's usually going to have a candle spell of some sorts, some kind of a recipe or two, and then for each of those things he'll usually list out a little bit more of like different ways that you could use this particular like spell ingredient thing, like the oils. He gives you a few different options of how to use them, and he did that for each section, and it seems like that would get redundant, but it really didn't. And the ingredients, while most of them were fairly common, that's kind of not a bad thing. A lot of times you'd find thyme or rosemary mentioned often, but it's like you could go to the store and easily get that. And I thought that there was one ingredient that I couldn't easily find at like our local grocery store, which is kind of true. I had looked on the, like, you know how you can do like your order pickup? I had put in this particular ingredient and I was like, I've never even heard of this. And they kind of have it. They don't have it in stock, it's a shipping item, because sometimes grocery stores don't have it in stock at that location. They do at like a warehouse somewhere and they'll ship it to you within like 3 days. It was one of those, and I thought, you know, maybe like the more specialty grocery stores, I don't know what states they're in, I know they're in a couple, but there's one out here called Sprouts. They would probably have it, and it was just like a particular kind of flour to use for a bread. But other than that, the ingredients were super easy to find. I found almond oil, olive oil, all over the place. Different grocery stores always are gonna have that. Same with, I think he even had like grapeseed oil at one point, maybe, or sunflower oil. It was like some like slightly random one, but I know I've seen it at the store, you just have to look. And so these were fantastic. The ways that he tells you to go about these are so simple and so easy. And again, the ingredients you can find at a grocery store. He keeps it very simple. And of course, because I'm getting into more kitchen witchery, this is like right up my alley. And so a lot of these, like, you get to make it yourself and it just brings in that kitchen witchery vibe. The biggest thing that I really enjoyed was he tells you how to make an oil yourself. And honestly, I like this method and I think I'm going to use it in my regular practice. As much as I love essential oils and like the oil blends that I have that I've had for years that you're probably not supposed to keep forever, because I think they tell you like 1 to 2 years, and these are probably going on 5 at least. Like, they've been there a while. But his recipes, they're easy to do. You like get your ingredients out of your pantry, you put them in a pot, which I'm tempted to like eventually get like a magical cooking pot that's like just for magic. But these ingredients aren't gonna harm you, so it's fine to like commingle it with your regular food. And you like just mix it with like a regular oil, like olive oil, and then you simmer it for like such amount of time, bottle it up, strain it, whatever, and then you have a magical oil. And I was like, that is genius. Like, it's so simple and so easy, but it doesn't require you to go out and buy a bunch of essential oils, which are super expensive, really. If you go to buy like a container of like, I don't know if they have this as an oil, I think they do, but like rosemary, if you buy a little container of rosemary versus a little bottle of rosemary essential oil, those are two very different price ranges. And I like the idea of using the actual herb itself, and so I just like this idea so much. And he also has a couple for like using vinegar as a base, and he's like, just as an FYI, your house is gonna smell bad. And he has that for a couple things. Like there was one where you cut an onion in half and you leave it in a room, and depending on how it turns out the next day is like whether it's haunted or not. And he's like, FYI, your room, it's gonna smell like onion for a while. You're gonna wanna open a window. And I'm like, I don't really mind the smell of onion, so I'm cool with that. But like, it's just random little stuff like that. It's so much fun. It reminds me a lot of Cunningham's books, but in a little bit more modern text, because again, Cunningham died like almost 30 years ago. This isn't that old. And again, the simplicity of this. I like that you don't have to go and get a bunch of random ingredients. Like, again, the flour was probably the most like, ooh. And he also mentioned tobacco, and he talked a little bit about like how to use that without like causing like health problems with it, because you know, tobacco is not like the greatest of ingredients to use. And he talks about that, and I was really excited. And so I'll talk about that more in the extended discussion that goes along with this book. But overall, there are so many things in here that it's like, if you are trying to create a magical household, you're trying to just use very simple, easy items. You might be in the broom closet. A lot of this is super easy. You're just making like a summertime drink, guys. Or like, look at this cool like apple cider recipe. Isn't it awesome? Nobody's gonna question it, you know? Like, it's just, it's simple, it's easy, I love it. There are, like, 90% of this book, I'm just like, I need to do that, I need to do that, I need to do that. He mentioned a cookie that you can do for the moons, and I haven't made it in years, and out of the blue, my mom started asking me to make it, and then, lo and behold, this book talked about it too, because I think it's similar, if not the same, as the one that Charming Pixie Flora had in her book. Like, I'm gonna have to compare the recipes, but they're gonna be very similar. And I'm like, ooh, the moons are coming up. I should cook it. Because it's supposed to be like crescent moons or whatever. I usually just do it for the full moon and just circle and make my life easy, but whatever. But yeah, there are so many different things in here that I absolutely love about this book. It's going to be one of my most used books. So anyways, that is going to be it for this review. I would love to hear your thoughts on this one in the comments down below. Thank you to my patrons. I will have their names here on the screen. If you would like to support me and get access to exclusive content, it is patreon.com/nightwillowcrafts. Make sure to like and subscribe. I post every single day. And again, make sure to look out for the extended discussion on my Patreon. That should be going up in the next like day or so. And until tomorrow, thank you so much for watching, and blessed be.